Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
Meta AI is the personal AI that's tailored to you, now with its very own app. It's built to get to know you, offering helpful answers and inspiration. Looking for something to add to your bucket list? Meta AI goes beyond traveling the world. It remembers you're a basketball fanatic and suggests you attend one of the playoff games. Just start typing or speaking to get the answers you need, wherever and whenever, because Meta AI is your personal AI. Download the Meta AI app, now available on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Hello, and welcome to the Artist Pivot Podcast. On this episode, I am joined by the powerhouse storyteller, artist, and social entrepreneur, Satori Shakoor. From her earliest artistic dreams in second grade to the groundbreaking Brides of Funkenstein to launching her own theater company, Satori has mastered the art of the pivot, constantly reinventing herself and her creative journey. We dive into Satori's new film, Confessions of a Menopausal Femme Fatale, an honest and hilarious stand-up storytelling concert that shines a much-needed light on menopause and women's health. Satori shares her personal pivots, from making cardboard violins as a determined child, to founding the culturally diverse Obsidian Theatre Company in Canada, to harnessing the power of storytelling as a service. Along the way, Satori offers her wisdom on pushing past self-doubt and embracing your own definition of success, while championing the importance of women sharing stories, taking up space, and rejecting society's outdated demands. If you're ready for inspiration, laughter, and a powerful reminder to do what you love no matter what, this episode is for you. Let's get into it.
Hi, I'm Satori Shakoor, and I'm on the Artist Pivot Podcast.
Let your inner artist play, creating your dreams step by step every day. If you're feeling lost and don't know what to do, always remember that you can pivot to the Artist Pivot. The Artist Pivot. We Audition is the video chat community where actors can audition, self-tape, rehearse, and get expert industry advice. Get instant self-tape readers through video chat, browse through the dedicated actor meditations, podcasts, and books, meet casting directors in the virtual green room, and also make money by becoming a reader for other actors. If you join We Audition and use code PIVOT, you will receive a 25% discount on your membership. Yes, that's right. We Audition and the Artist Pivot have partnered to bring you this discount. From my own experience, I love being a reader for other actors, and We Audition is so convenient for me when I need a reader myself. Again, if you join We Audition and use the code PIVOT, you will receive 25% off your membership. Link in the show notes. All right, y'all. On today's episode, I am so excited to say that joining me is storyteller, artist, and social entrepreneur, Satori Shakoor. Hello there. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You're very welcome, and I'm excited for you to be here. So I have to start tradition on this podcast, my first two favorite questions. So number one, how are your hydration levels? Have you had enough water today? And two, if I were to text you and say, Satori, how's your day going? How you feeling? What's going on? But you could only respond in emojis only, what would you text me?
Okay. Hydration levels?
Mm-hmm. Yes, come on, water. All right.
We're early in the day. We're halfway through the day, so I like to stay hydrated.
Yes.
Although sometimes I get really busy and forget.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If I could just respond with emojis, I'd respond with a few Z's, a bunch of hearts,
okay,
and a lot of hand claps.
All right. Yes. I'll take that. I'll take that. Thank you for that imaginary text. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So y'all, today on the podcast, I think I already feel it. We're in for a treat, right? We're in for a treat. Because from what I know about Satori, you, ma'am, have done a lot of pivots and have been very successful at them, right? Like, you have a new movie coming out called Confessions of a Menopausal Femme Fatale, a stand-up storytelling concert film, which we will definitely talk about, right? Like, I'm excited to talk about a film that you executive produced, right? And that you're starring in. But I know that it took you some pivots to get there, right?
Yes.
And I also love, like, on your pre-podcast form that you talk about, like, pushing past where you normally stop, right? Yeah. And I know that's probably something that has gotten you to where you are now, right? So yeah. I just want to talk about, you could take us as far back as you want, like when you started, or to last week, whenever, but let me know some of the key moments and, like, pivots that either gave you aha or, like, helped you get to where you are now as an executive producer of your own film.
Okay, well, I can tell you that where I would like to start is in second grade.
Sure. When
this woman came to my class and whispered to my teacher, and my teacher said, "Class, mm-hmm. we have Miss whatever her name was, I can't remember, who's right-handed?" And most of the class raised their hand. Mm-hmm. She picked 5 people, which I was one of. Mm-hmm. And I can still hear her high heels clicking down the wood floors into the annex. She opened the door, and there were all these instruments, stringed instruments, and I had the opportunity to play the violin.
All right.
I was so excited. I never thought I'd ever play a violin, let alone hold one in my hands or even see one up close. Mm-hmm. We took the permission slip back to my mother. My mother said, "Oh, I can't afford to give you violin classes. Ask your dad." My dad had just retired, and he said, "Well, I would have to get a second job, but it still wouldn't be in time for you." And I had to think about not doing that. But what I remember about that was that I then cut out a cardboard violin, put some of my mother's rope, took a pencil, and marched around the house. My mother would go, "Stop, stop." and then maybe a couple of weeks later, the lady came back and said, "Well, we've got funding, and you can use these violins and these cellos and these basses free of charge."
Yes.
What I remember was not giving up in my mind and actually manifesting the possibility. Yeah. And so I can tell a lot of things like that. I wanted to be a singer. Yeah. And so I would listen to, who was his name? He lived in Canada. It'll come to me at 3:00 in the morning. But I would listen to his live albums so that I could hear the audience applaud. And I would spend hours imagining that I was the person on stage singing. Yeah. And then I went to college. I studied voice. And then I went to New York to record an album that fell through. And I decided to stay there to audition for Broadway. And I got a call, they're having auditions for this new group called the Brides of Funkenstein from George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic. I flew back to Detroit, got the job. A week later, I'm on stage in front of 10,000 people in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, listening to that same amount of applause. So my dreams were never small. I mean, I just kind of never thought of myself performing in front of 50 people. Although I have performed in front of 5 when I decided to do stand-up comedy. Yes. Which I wanted to solve a problem with stand-up. I moved to Los Angeles. The agent said, "Well, you have to become known for one thing. And then once you do that, you can branch off." Okay. So at that point, I didn't know how to amputate being an actress from a writer, from a singer, and stand-up seemed like the perfect choice because I could dress like I wanted, write my own material. I could sing. I could do whatever I wanted. It was like I was my own producer, and I decided to do stand up, and that took me. I didn't know I was funny.
Yeah.
I just knew that whenever I was around people, there would be a lot of laughter. I didn't know I was causing the laughter.
Okay.
I just thought I was part of the laughter. But I loved laughter and having fun. And then I moved to Toronto. And by this time, I'd been doing stand up for about 4 years and just developed myself.
Yeah.
Moved back to Detroit and founded a theater company there, Black theater company, along with 12 other actors.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to produce one play. I went around to the theater companies, which there were a lot. Our mandate says this. Our mandate doesn't include that. So I raised the money, found somebody to produce the play reading, and to hopefully get the funding. Nope. So I said, you know what? It'd be easier to start a theater company than to go around asking one theater company to produce one play. And that's what we did. Now it's 25 years later.
Okay. And
Obsidian Theatre Company is the most culturally diverse theater company in Canada.
Yes.
And when I go back there, maybe to do a play every once in a while, I may meet people and they've never met me before. They have no idea that I helped to found a theater company that they're the artistic director of. And I kind of like that. You know, I like it being 25 years later, it's sustaining itself. It's doing what we envisioned it would do back in the day. And then I come to Detroit, and it's 6 years after my mother passed, and then 9 months after my son passed. And I'm coming back to life, and so is Detroit. And I decide, if storytelling, because by this time I'd toured the country with the Moth.
Okay.
And I was learning that storytelling is a service, and that storytelling are part of my roots, having come from a long line of Alabama, Mississippi, Jim Crow, old Black women. And that was the language they spoke. And so that was the language that I learned.
Yeah.
And they were masters and PhDs in storytelling.
And
when I started to get emails from the podcast thanking me for telling my story, I then saw storytelling as a service. So I wanted to bring other people to the stage to be of service to the listening audience. And so now it's 13 years later, and we've had all these storytellers on stage. We're now looking at a grant to archive these stories at the Historical Society here in Detroit. Just today we had a meeting, and I decided to tell my own story, Confessions of a Menopausal Femme Fatale, put it in a film, and help those women coming behind me to understand what's going on, because when I was going through perimenopause, I was like, what's happening to me? I'm having these mood swings, these hot flashes, night sweats. My heart is beating fast. I have insomnia. I'm losing friends because I'm telling them exactly what I think.
Your head,
I'm not a people pleaser. I'm not nice anymore. Hair is growing in places it shouldn't grow. What's happening to me? And I would ask the people around me. They didn't remember, or I'm too young and they clearly were not, or I refused to go through menopause. How are you going to do that?
Right.
And so I said, I've got to tell my story so that this taboo subject can come out of the closet and we can start to be a community to each other as women. Because at the time that I was trying to find out, there was all these self-help books, How to Get a Man. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. The rules, all these ways that women are supposed to tuck themselves in and be submissive and to get the man. And then when I read Catch 'em or Keep 'em, and I read through 200 pages, and at the end it says, and all the things you did to catch him, you have to continue to do that to keep him. I said, I'm done. I put Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. I threw that book on the floor and jumped on up and down on top of it. And I said, okay, this is it. I'm no longer performing for a patriarchal lens. I have to give up too many accomplishments. I have to give up all of this life experience that I've gained, this wisdom that I gained, just to be perky, juicy, and relevant to a man or to men or to society or the patriarchy. And that's when I began to see the value of menopause, even though I didn't, there was no insurance, and there still isn't, for women to go seek medical help.
Yeah.
But women in some stage of menopause are the largest demographic in the United States.
Really?
The largest demographic. Okay. 2 million women enter menopause every day.
What?
Every day. And you enter like perimenopause between, say, 43 and 50. And this is when
the things, right? You're like, what's happening?
I'm sweating on a date. I'm like a cartoon character. And there's still not the proliferation of doctors. Misdiagnoses are happening. So I made my film so women could start talking.
Yeah. And
stop hiding behind someone else defining who you are.
Right.
And now women are talking. I mean, there are women like you. There's Kamala Harris. There's our governor here in Michigan has taken over an initiative, which I'm part of the Michigan Women's Commission voluntarily. I sit on panels, do town halls to talk about menopause as a storyteller. We have doctors on the panel, and it's an initiative to go all over Michigan, providing a platform for women to talk about, and women are chomping at the bit. Doctor, and it's just a change of life. And if we could address the symptoms, develop more doctors in this field, get the funding for research, get medical attention and insurance, because it's going to happen. If you're lucky enough to live long, you will go through this time of life. And when you put all the symptoms, you address all of that, then what you come into is your power, your freedom, your self-definition, your everything. It should be a rite of passage, like a bat mitzvah. You should have parties, and I'm now at that age that I can do anything I say I'm going to do.
Right.
I don't need permission. My self-doubt may still be in the background, but it doesn't stop me. So I wanted to tell my story, and my story spans 12 years. But it not only talks about menopause, a taboo subject, and busts some myths there. It talks about postpartum depression, which women don't like to talk about. It talks about sexuality, freedom of sexuality, It talks about things that women, addiction to nicotine, and menopause being that time of life where you change, you give up things that aren't good for you. Some of your relationships that you've been in, phony, inauthentic, fake relationships, you can't tolerate that anymore. You may break up with that boyfriend that was a distraction, or just somebody there so you wouldn't feel lonely. You're willing to choose the right partner. And if you have to go a stretch of years without anyone, that's fine. You love your company. You love your own self.
Yes.
So this is the reason I made the film.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. There's so much we can unpack from that. But I think what's at top of mind for me right now is what you said about finally realizing, right? Like, I'm kind of done with the patriarchy. I'm kind of done of acting a certain way because I'm a woman, right? And like also how that fed into your artistic lens and you creating your own work. And like, even now at 38, I'm just kind of like, wait a minute, why are we doing this? Like, why do I have to act a certain way? Why, like, what, because some man says so? Because this society says so? It's like, no, I need to step into my power right now.
Yes.
Right?
The earlier, the better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like knowing behind me that I have younger cousins that I'm like, no, I want to be an example to show them. Cause it took me, I'd say I last about 5 years, right? Like I would say for me, the pandemic is when a lot of things shifted, right? Like the world itself, but internally I was like, wait a minute, what's happening, Ayana? Right? Like, and so I admire you so much for that of like, wait a minute. I've been operating under this F the patriarchy. What are we doing? What are we doing? And let's talk about this, ladies, right? Like, here's the real deal. Because if we don't talk about it, we can't solve the problem.
No. And we can't create a community of support.
Yes.
And we can't be responsible for our forward movement. We can't enlist the support of men who want the best for us.
Yes.
You know, and so my mother was 50 and I was 14. She was going through perimenopause. I was going through puberty. It was a clash of hormones and she didn't know what was going on with her. And I didn't know what was going on with me.
Yeah.
I just knew that, I have breasts. Boys are very interesting. And she was like, I'm done with men. Everything I was going into, she was going out.
Coming out of, yeah.
And so it would have been great for her to know, this is what's going on with me. And she could explain to me and also explain to me that I'm growing in, and there could have been more understanding. So I think it's worth it for us to understand who we are, not only as emotional beings and physical beings, but as hormonal beings going through a hormonal journey throughout our lives, but we're shamed from the time we have our periods. Literally, we are shamed. And you're just like, but that's a natural thing that happens. So why are we shamed for this? Oh, right. Men. Like they don't understand, right? Stay away from her for 7 days. Right. And you're like, no. That's how this happens. Like, fortunately, your mom had a period. That's how you're here, bruh. Right. Like, yes. And being shamed for that. And you're just like, what? But what? Why? This is literally a natural thing that happens, right? Yeah. And even when you brought up like, insurance or, things covering menopause and different things, I also think that they should cover period care and like fibroids, all of that, because it's natural, right? It's something that happens naturally to women. We didn't like make this up. Right. Right? Like this happens naturally. And so for us to be kind of stuffed in the corner, you're just like, all right, come on, y'all. Like we've had enough. And we're going to talk about it. And we're going to also learn from each other, right? Like understanding like, hey, y'all, I produced this film because you need to know what happens, right? You need to understand this. If you're blessed long enough to live, you're going to go through this, right? So like, here it is in like a fun, like gentle teaching kind of way to be like, hey, this is my story. And also welcome, because this is what's coming. Yes. And the great things that come out of it, and the tragic things that you go through life and have to face, and to understand this is life, and that even though it may have you down for a time, that when you put yourself back together or reconstruct a new being, a new self, that there's courage there. There's something that you've gone through. And it enlightens you to do what you love to do. Like I resolved to do what I love to do for the rest of my life, no matter whatever it takes. Right. I'm going to do what I love because life is so fragile. Yes. It's so short when we measure that hyphen against the time we're born and the time we go, which we never know when that is. It does not make sense not to live. Some people just breathe. Right. I'm talking about being alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Oh, I felt that because that's it about being alive. And I think for us, that's why we choose the arts, right? Like, or I would say chose us because you with this that violin story, you were like, no. In my head, I'm a violin player and nobody's going to tell me otherwise, right? Like I was an actress and of course people try to deter me when I was younger. It's going to be hard. You're not going to make any money, all of it.
Yeah.
I'm 17 years into this career. Is it easy? No. Do I love it? Absolutely.
And the love is what sustains it. I mean,
yes.
And then being an actor is being an entrepreneur.
Yes, it is.
And and just like you come and sit in your studio and you use your voice to create these characters and these messages for companies, and you make money that way. So you discover all of the branches acting can offer you. And also then it's also about understanding a lot of these opportunities I'm going to have to create myself. And that's power.
It is. So wait, I have a question for you then. When did you discover that, right? Like acting, you're an actor, you're an entrepreneur, and I have to create my own work. Because if I'm honest, I'm coming to that right now. Like like when I started this podcast about, wait a minute, Ayana, you can't wait for somebody else to cast you, right? And I can't beat up my former self. That's what I knew. That's how I was operating. But now I'm like, no. You've been an entrepreneur since you left college, right? Because you're an actor. So I want to know, when did the light bulb click for you that you're like, wait a minute, I got to create my own opportunities because I am an entrepreneur.
Right. When my agent only could offer me 1 or 2 auditions a month.
Okay.
When maybe a white counterpart was auditioning 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay.
Okay. Or when the parts were limited to your type.
Yes.
And then it was limited to the way society looked at you. So maybe you're prostitute number 3. Woman number 1. You didn't even have a name or habitat or anything.
Right.
And of course you want to do more.
Yeah.
And so becoming a comedian was my first understanding. Okay, you're going to have to create your own opportunities.
Okay. Yes.
So you're going to have to drive down to San Bernardino for that open mic. You're going to have to develop yourself. You're going to have to find a community of other comedians and get in that mix to find out where things are and all these kinds of things. And then when I moved to Toronto, it's the same thing.
Okay.
So it's like I was telling you the story of wanting to produce a play.
Right.
And no, our mandate says no, you can't. Okay, well, how about instead of just getting one play produced, how about a theater company that produces plays that I want to sit and see?
Yeah.
And the same thing with Detroit, When I came back to Detroit, this is a Motor City.
Yeah.
It's an industrial Rust Belt town. So there were 2 professional theaters, and every play that happened didn't have my type or I could do that part. And then rehearsals started after work, where I was living, Los Angeles, Toronto, New York. Rehearsals were 10 to 5.
Right.
Then you went home and started rehearsing.
Yeah.
So it was like, how do I stay in developing myself? So that's why I created the Secret Society of Twisted Storytellers, coming back to Detroit. But then at this point, it's not about opportunities I'm creating for myself. It's about collaborations. It's about creating platforms where other people can participate and express their artistic ability.
Right.
You know? So we have dance performances, music performances, digital art shows. I have a team of 10 people who do what they do to make the show happen.
Okay.
We rent a theater company, so we get grants, and So, it's not just me. It's a lot of people who get to express themselves through this idea.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. And you're
And that's
giving.
real fulfilling.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I can tell you have joy talking about it.
Yes.
And it's one of those, like, because you knew how hard it was for you, right? You're like, okay, well, I have to develop this for myself. And you did. And now you're like, okay, now I want to offer that to other people. Like, how can I then help you to create for yourself? Because you're right, the industry could be very limiting.
Very limiting. And when you dream a big thing,
mm-hmm.
or you dream a thing, then it catches the imagination of people around, and people are coming, hey, can I play guitar? Can I?
Yeah.
And so then it starts to grow that way, because collaborations offer new ideas
Mm-hmm.
I would not necessarily think of. So they're very valuable.
Yeah.
Even with this film, when I see the credits roll,
mm-hmm.
which are really thank yous,
mm-hmm.
it's huge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this was a promise I made my younger self. Now it's a film. And now look at all the people involved to make this film happen.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I mean, it's like amazing to me.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Like a promise to your younger self that you are now seeing, right?
Yeah.
And, because I do that sometimes. I'm like, okay, Ayana, what would future Ayana thank you for? Right? Like, what would she thank you for? And I guess my question is, what kept you going? Because I know it probably wasn't easy to produce this film, right? Star in it, executive produce it. And so, you said it took you 12 years?
Well, my menopausal journey took 12 years.
Okay.
I started writing the piece in 2019.
2019. Okay.
So
And
6 years. It's going to be released on June 12th on Prime Video, Apple TV Plus, and Google Play.
Streaming. Oh, perfect. Streaming. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we'll make sure to put that in the show notes. At the end of the episode, I'll make sure you shout out all your handles and everything so everybody can follow you and watch it.
What kept me going? I would use anything.
Okay.
So like you have a lot of energy. It's good energy, big smile energy, really. And so I would use any little thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was a good show. Good. Or if I was down, I have to create what would keep me going. So somebody's smile, a grant opportunity.
Yeah.
You have to use whatever little thing there is in a forward movement, or you have to use the negative stuff too. Mm-hmm. You use whatever is given to you to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
You transform it into fuel.
Yeah.
And plus the love of it and the vision of it is bigger than wherever you are right now. You keep living into the bigness of it and the excitement. And sometimes you're not excited anymore. You've reached a milestone. So now you have to create something new.
Yeah.
So to re-energize that excitement,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. And transforming, right? Like using what's right in front of you, right? Like what do I have? What is in front of me?
Yes.
Use it and transform it, right? Like, okay, that'll keep me going. Okay, great. The next one, right? Like, because all we have is today, right? Like, we can also, this is another conversation for another day, but we're so much in a culture that does think into the future, right? That it's like sometimes we're not in the present. And so, like you said, being in the present, what do I have today? What can keep me going right now so I can get to tomorrow? And then when I'm in tomorrow, I'll worry about that. And then what I'll get for the next day, right? Like, what is right in front of you?
Yes.
What do you have?
Yes. And then some people tell you, you can't do that. I've been told, you can't do that. And then I reflect on the things that I've done. And what do you mean I can't? I've done this. And then you start to look at all the things you have done and realize you can't not forget the things you have not. Because we're socialized to be modest.
Yes.
Don't brag. All these things. We need to brag.
Yep.
We need to acknowledge
Yes.
our accomplishments so that we can be grateful. Because
Yes.
great gratitude, being thankful, has a lot of energy to it.
Mm.
It really creates the possibility of the next thing.
It does.
So to reflect on your accomplishments
Mm-hmm.
gives you the confidence to know that the thing that somebody's telling you you can't do,
Mm-hmm.
it's very much within your reach. It's a spiritual thing, really.
Yes.
If you hold it in your mind, if you obsess about it,
Mm-hmm.
if you take the actions and are committed and can sustain. I know I can sustain something for years.
Mm-hmm.
I can write something in 2019 and sustain it until June 12th when it's going to come out for everybody in the world to watch.
Yeah.
You can do that because you did that.
Because you did it. Because you're pulling your receipts, right? In essence, you're pulling your own receipts.
Yes.
And going, wait a minute, you did that. So do it again.
Exactly.
Pull your receipts. Like,
yes.
Absolutely. And also when people say you can't do something, like, ew, that grinds my gears. But my father told me when I was young, right? Like he always said this to me because I would get upset about if like homework or something, I'd be like, oh, I can't do this. And he'd be like, can't is not in my daughter's vocabulary. He goes, no, you better remove can't right now, Ayana. Yes, you can.
Yes.
Now, will you have to try certain different things? Yes. Because you may not be able to solve this problem like someone else. You may have to do long division, right? If the teacher's saying short, that's fine. But your brain may have to do long division. But that's it. You are going to do it, right? Stop saying you can't. And so I do honestly think that when people say you can't do something, that's just a projection, right? That's their limiting belief trying to project on you. So again, going back to us saying staying small, us not talking about ourselves, patting ourselves on the back, us not being like, no, I did that.
Exactly. And failure, there's no shame to failure. Failure is really the platform to success.
Yes.
Because you know that if you failed, you tried. And if you tried, you can try again.
Yes.
And you can learn from the failure. What did I do wrong? What could I do better?
Yes.
How could I? Failure teaches you.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, failure teaches you more than success. Success is a time to celebrate. Failure is a time to get back on that horse.
Right. Yes. Let's get back on the horse, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Right. And even like what you learned. Okay, what did I learn from that? I'm going to put in quotation marks, perceived failure, right? Like, oh, but I think that also comes from us putting so much weight on outcomes, right? Like, oh, I failed because I didn't get the outcome I wanted. But sometimes the outcome you get is actually better. So, right, you're like, but did I fail then? Because I did get a good outcome still. It just wasn't the outcome I thought it was going to be.
You got some outcome. And you got the benefit of a process.
Yes.
And that process is the day-to-day, step-by-step actions that you took to get wherever that outcome led you. And you can go back and you can see which step was ineffective. And but there's never any loss to a failure because whomever you met throughout that process, you know them now.
Yeah.
You can go back and they won't shame you for failing. They'll admire you because you came back.
Yes. Yes. Because you came back because you tried. Right. And like trusting the process. And I know y'all, it's trivial. People say, no, really trust the process. Right. Yes. It's trusting the process. But also I saw something funny the other day. It was like, does the process know we're trusting it? Like, hello, what's happening? I'm like, yes, the process knows we're trusting it.
Yes, we are the process.
Well, yeah, we are the process. Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you so much for sharing. I want to ask you this final question of like, what would be your word of advice, your nugget of wisdom, right, for artists, creatives, human beings, right, trying to pivot, trying to keep going, trying to trust their process?
I would say do what you love for the rest of your life no matter what. It's kind of like a marriage vow, for better or worse, sickness and in health.
Yes.
And like my husband and I, our marriage vow was divorce is not an option.
Yes.
So in the beginning, the first couple of years, I had to find creative ways to get divorced without divorcing.
Right.
So I take my wedding ring off and put it in my top drawer until I got over myself. And then the ring didn't come off anymore.
Yeah.
so that no matter what is the key. No matter what. So no matter what comes, you're going to find a way to keep going. And we do. It's a commitment. Yeah. So I say do what you love for the rest of your life, no matter what. You're going to get stopped. All human beings get stopped. Sickness will stop you. Lack of resources will stop you. Making a move will stop you. There are interruptions. Yeah. But push past that. Because a lot of our stops have to do with self-doubt. I failed. It's too hard. That's how I got the late, great Dick Gregory to do our show in 2014. Okay. I was afraid to call him, and I had his number for 2 or 3 weeks, sitting on it, not calling, because I'm like, oh, our show is too tiny. It has only been going 2 years. For him to come and do it, he'll never. Plus, I don't have the money. All the thoughts, yes. Right? And I had a seminar, and the homework was pushed past where you normally stop. So I'm standing in front of my favorite pita restaurant, whipped out my phone before I could think to tell myself no, dialed the number, and his management said, oh, I think Mr. Gregory would love to do the show. And he did. Wow. I got a testimony from him and everything. Yeah. Oh, yes. I love that. Push past, right? Because there'll be interruptions, but you got to keep going. Got to keep going. I love that so much. Satori, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on your show, giving me the privilege and the honor to share a little bit of my life with you and your listeners. Yes. And I'm very excited. Yes. Yay. Okay. So before I let you go, please tell everybody where they can find you out here on the interwebs. SatoriShakoor.com is my website. And from my website, you can find my link tree. You can contact me. You can see the film when it's coming out, and all the things. Okay, perfect. Don't worry, everybody. That will be in the show notes, so it's easily clickable. And Satori, I must say to you that I acknowledge you, I celebrate you, and I uplift you. Thank you. And I do the same for you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. You have a wonderful weekend, eh? Thank you. Okay. And coming up on the next episode of the Artist Pivot Podcast.
I'm Giselle, and I'm on the Artist Pivot Podcast. But I think it was really the motto that I lived my life, which is I just don't want any regrets. I'm going to let the wind blow me where I'm going. Now, the older I get, I'm like, okay, you need a little less wind. But I have had the privilege of being able to go where my heart leads me and being able to look back later and say, how does this connect?
This show is hosted and produced by me, Ayana Major Bay. Show editor is Kieran Niement. Show theme song lyrics written by Ayana Major Bay and Melissa Victor. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this show with your friends.